Jigsaw puzzles. Are you one who likes doing them or not? It seems there's definitely two camps when it comes to this. You either really like doing them or you really don't. In either scenario, though, we can appreciate that each piece in a puzzle is completely unique, just like us women, and each piece has its own special job to do in the overall picture. I'm Karen Spiegelberg. Welcome to A Word for Women, a show by women and for women, where we build each other up in our amazing and wonderful God-given roles in life. I grew up in a home where jigsaw puzzles were commonplace, and my mom was the master of all masters when it came to putting them together. I remember her once putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle with those little, practically microscopic sized pieces. It was a really neat old attic scene with attic toys and trunks and things, and she spent days, probably weeks on that puzzle, only to find in the end that one piece was missing. One piece in a 1,000-piece puzzle. How frustrating. The picture still looked pretty good, but it just wasn't complete without that one piece. And so it is with the body of Christ. The body of Christ is made up of different members, many different members, each one of them a necessary part, each with a diversity of talents, abilities, and gifts. These members are called Christians, and we women have a very distinct and important part in this body, which is called the Holy Christian Church. In 1 Corinthians chapter 12, St. Paul compares the body of Christ, the church, to a human body with its many essential parts. There we read selected verses. Verse 12, the body is a unit, though it is made up of many parts, and though all its parts are many, they form one body. So it is with Christ. Verses 14 through 18, now the body is not made up of one part, but of many. If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason cease to be part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason cease to be part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has arranged the parts in the body, every one of them, just as He wanted them to be. Sometimes as women, we have a temptation to think that the gifts or abilities we have are not that great or worthwhile, or that someone else's abilities are greater and therefore more valuable. But remember then what Paul tells us, that God has arranged the parts in the body, every one of them, just as He wanted them to be. It means that the gifts you have been blessed with, whether you think they're great or small, are suited perfectly for you and the benefit of the Holy Christian Church, the whole body of Christ. But I'm not totally sure of what my gifts to serve the Lord are, you might say. I think a way to help you and me identify where our gifts are would be to categorize them into 3 different ways. Natural gifts that you tend to be born with, like compassion or wisdom. Maybe you have a musical ability, athletic or artistic abilities. Then there are vocational or educational experiences, schooling or training you've received in certain areas, nursing, accounting, teaching, whatever it is. And finally, there are work or life experiences, jobs you've had, situations in life you've been through, even the death of a family member or surviving an illness yourself. All of these God uses to bless us, equip us, and use us for His purposes. Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7, we have this treasure in jars of clay. What God has given you for gifts is a treasure. And why do you have this treasure? That the love of the Lord and the work of the Lord might be manifested in your life. I grew up in a small town and in a neighborhood that played backyard baseball games all summer long. The kids were much bigger than I was, but it didn't stop me from wanting to join in with my brothers and the other kids. I was always the last one picked for any team, and then, when I finally got up to bat, someone on my team would yell, "This one doesn't count!" Thankfully, I was too young to understand what that meant. When Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 27, "Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it." What does it mean? It means that God has chosen you. He's handpicked you and equipped you. You're on His team, and you count. Thank you for joining us on A Word for Women. God bless you as you use your wonderful and diverse gifts to hit a home run for the Lord.